I just wanted to really go over it with some comedy and provide some truth to why many people do not like dealing tricks. And I think this is an important concept to discuss and just talk about the just why we should not like in many cases certain dealing tricks or the aspects people don't like of dealing tricks. And in essence, I think what it comes down to is the lack of excitement or multiple factors all being combined into one. One factor is that spectators love to be involved and engaging in an effect, and if it feels like it's just a means to an end without any other reasoning, that you say, okay, we're going to start dealing, and never giving any additional context, and maybe the card will appear, we don't know, it creates a sense of boringness, and we don't know when with dealing tricks or stuff of that nature. If there's no clarity, then people don't know what to focus on, and it creates a lack of interest and confusion, and people may lose interest or may not like the effect as much, especially if it's not direct in what it does. It's just like, okay, I'm going to take your card, wave it, and change it to another card, versus if I just keep on dealing, your card might pop up or something of that nature, and without, again, that additional context, especially if you just read a trick and it doesn't really add much. It says you just deal down like 20 cards and then the card will appear, and not giving additional reasoning. It's not something that people like, and it's actually one of the reasons that people say they don't like card tricks is because of dealing stuff of that nature. And there might be other reasonings to it, especially if the reason might be the 21 card trick. You know, deal 3 rows of 7 and then try to find their card magically. And mind you, there are some really good versions of that trick with Bill Malone, Ed Marlowe. I don't know if Di Vernon did some, and there's been some other bar magicians as well, and other performers as well who have made the trick actually exciting, which I applaud you guys for that. But in most versions of the trick, you know, when you're doing the 7 cards in a row, and just I'm not even doing 7 cards, I'm just doing it really fast, and just say, okay, I'm going to try to find your card, or just think of one, and well, it's kind of a thinking effect, just the lack of clarity and the lack of involvement, or just it doesn't feel as personal, doesn't make it as exciting. It just feels like it's a mystery from beginning to end rather than an evolving experience. And Bill Malone tried to change it up in his I believe it was his Bill Malone on Ed Marlowe DVD set. It was like 6 DVDs. He actually redid this trick where he gets right to the point after the first one, which was a very comedic version of it. And the second and third phases, he just goes really fast and goes right to their card, and it seems so impossible. You're left just baffled and laughing that it while it is in the scale or in the realm of magic and almost in a version of puzzle, the way he does it is so amazing. It's probably one of the reasons to get that whole entire DVD set just for that effect. It's so great that at the end people are just left laughing, and it goes right into the miracle class in my book. Just because of the way it's orchestrated, it doesn't even feel like there's any moves to it. It just feels like you're just doing it, and it's great. And that's what we want to do. We want to add clarity, we want to add motivation, and everything in nature, so it just feels like it's flowing. People know what to look out for. There is one effect I do that is kind of a dealing trick, but there are ways I get around it and make it enticing. So there is it goes by many names, and so it's lost to the track of time or path of time, and no one really knows who created this effect. It's hard to give credit to the person or individual who created it. I would say Scarney modernized it, and I took it from Scarney to advance it even further, so I don't even touch the cards anymore. And it's the clown card trick where a card's lost and you don't even touch it throughout. Let's just say their card's the 8 of hearts, okay? And then you start dealing, before you start dealing, or they start dealing, because I'm not touching the cards in this example. And I should probably link the video down below so everyone can see what I'm talking about. But briefly, in the effect, before the spectator even starts dealing cards to get to their card, I mentioned to them, believe it or not, I am a little bit of working on my psychic prowess, or rather, being bold in your claim, I am a psychic. And just that little part throws people off and makes them smile. And I also mentioned, I will know your card when it comes up. believe it or not. I will just know. So I want you to start dealing. I want to make it as fair as I can. You start dealing the cards. They're dealing, not me. And I'll know when your card comes up. And then you start dealing. And the tension builds up. Does he know? Will he know? And they're doing the dealing, not me. So there's more interaction between it. Rather than just dealing and thinking he has some control over it and some reasoning. But because the effect is out of there, I went around it by the effect being out of my hands. And the specters being involved by having to do an action, now it becomes a great effect. And then the build up to tension to it. And this, again, this is a clown card trick with the famous line, so people can know the effect. The next card I flip over is going to be your card. And you could have seen all the rest of the cards that have been shown, all the rest of them, and you can see all the rest that I've dealt. I'm willing to bet the next card I flip over is going to be yours. And then they make the bet or whatever, and it's built up so well, and then you can turn over this card, which is theirs, and then boom, end it. That's the clown card trick, and I go more into it, and I'll link it in the video below, or in the description below. But that has a lot of room for engagement, or I try to make it very engaging, so it doesn't feel like, for the dealing card trick, it doesn't have those elements of being boring, and there's a tension built up into the audience who's wondering, will he really know? Because again, it's out of my hands. I had that factor. They're dealing the cards. I give them the presentation of psychic prowess. So all these elements are to add to that dealing card trick. If you really have to do one, this is the point. If you really have to do a dealing card trick, you want to add all these different elements and clarity so people know what they're doing. They feel involved in everything. So it doesn't feel like that boring card trick where and so many magicians make fun of it. Rich Kelly doesn't like me to mention it, but he even made indirectly a video. I can't talk too much on it, but he made a funny video just making fun of people with boring dealing card tricks, that they're just so boring, or it could be so boring. It's just like, okay, is this your card? Like, is this your card? No. Is this your card? No. Is this your card? Just making a satire of it. And then it eventually swapped out the person with like a bag of bones, or like a skeleton, and to show that how enticing dealing tricks without all those bonus elements can be, and not too exciting. That's not just to say that, you know, dealing tricks are boring, or in nature, just like that nature. Some can be really, really motivating and different things. I know there could be a couple dealing tricks within the realm of gambling, and that is its own realm, and they have their own context. And I know usually they would theme it, so it's a wonderful part of a larger exhibition. But I just want to encourage people to think about their magic with a little bit more insight, or just ways they can, different little ideas so they could be able to improve it, to make it more enticing. And we don't want it to be as boring for a spectator, because the last thing you would want, or it hurts me to say that the audience watching, yeah, that was a good show, but just that boring dealing trick, just, I don't think they should include in their act. You know, to hear that, or as I've heard possibly other performers get that comment, just because it's just not exciting, or people looking away, or people looking in the back audiences like they were entertained the whole show, and just because they didn't incorporate other elements into that dealing trick, I see them looking down at their phones. It's hurtful, and I don't want other performers have to see that or have to deal with that, and would want them to encourage a more balanced and just wondrous magic show as it is. So with that said, I hope everyone in YouTube TV land got something out of that, and if you haven't checked out this video yet, or this video yet, definitely check it out, and I will see you in the next video.